you don't know how to play a Night Stalker, just play a game with him and you'll learn very quickly. But Night Stalker, was he actually banned in the previous games? I don't think he was.
I feel like he was banned first game. I don't remember if he was banned last game, and this really surprises me because he has a very high ban pick rate. He also has a very high win rate when he is picked. Complexity instead going for the IO combo. Z-Freak very skilled on this hero. We've seen Complexity run it again and again. And outplaying the relocates is, I think, especially hard for a newer team. Because the strat to outplay them is you group up, you move around the map in groups. And of course, if you don't have as much team synergy, that might come into play here. But what do you pick to go with your IO? What do you like, Mike?
I think in this game, like, given the opening, it doesn't really matter too much. You could even wait till third, fourth, maybe even a fifth pick, grab it. What they really want out of this IO is the hero's resistance to Doombringer as a hero. If your buddy gets doomed, any hero, just yank him out of there, or just bottle heal them through, and then Doom, yeah, we'll get the silence, but shouldn't be getting those kills. We could see Complexity taking a long time to decide on the second pick. If it was going to be IO Tiny, I feel like it would probably be IO Tiny by now, or at least they're considering something different. But really, this is a defensively situated IO, at least for right now. You can't always go aggressive with this hero, and that's never going to change. But as a response to Doom, IO is a great responsive support pick.
Yeah. So, still waiting. They have burned through. Maybe there was a DC. I'm checking chat.
Sven stands ready.
So that malware game made my Jakir just a series of loud static sounds instead of voice. Okay. They finally go with the Sven. I'm not quite sure what took them so long. I'm also a little bit surprised. It could be player comfort. Maybe ZZ or Swindles doesn't want to play the Tiny or the Chaos Knight. I think both of them. It's kind of grasping at straws isn't the phrase I want, but there are slight differences to them. But I think a lot of people do seem to prefer the Tiny over both the Sven and the Chaos Knight.
I think general consensus is that Tiny is on like the top of the tier list. Everyone else kind of floating down below, but it's like usually it's going to be Tiny. Sven as a pick, you can see even going to get blocked a little bit here by Winter Wyvern as well, you do get the cleave, but still not being able to purely right click your target with the overcharge feels really bad once you have your Mask of Madness, MKB, Godstrang popped up and you're doing literally no damage. But also here for Gaming, the Winter Wyvern pickup, I guess like the Tiny is a little bit worse than Sven in this regard, but like if you curse the IO, Sven may or may not have enough damage to kill off his buddy, whereas the Tiny always will. You know, I don't know how often that's going to come into play. They have a lot of healing, and that's really what your gamer are going for. This is a very common opening. Just get the Doom, get the Winter Wyvern, get sustain everywhere.
Yeah, so another, and I also think Wyvern is really good against a IO because you Winter's Curse and you're often in the AoE. But either way, I know DotA very comfortable on this hero. I've asked them about this before on Root Gaming, and they love getting the Wyvern in the first round of picks just because you can do a lot of harassment in mid, you can harass out other lanes, etc., etc. But we had the AA ban out from Complexity. I assume this is just for the IO Sven, because if you really quit in, sometimes it's easy to hit that Ice Blast. But do you think maybe they're planning on doing some more healing? There's, I mean, think just the Witch Doctor and the Jug, I guess, left in the pool for healing.
You can always go like really deep if you really want healing, but wasn't there actually an Omnite in the first series that Gods was casting? I think there was, unless I'm just tripping out, which is possible. Yeah, if they really want healing, they're gonna get healing, but I feel like it's enough to have the IO. You don't really need to go overboard with that sort of kind of narrow utility, which Root Gaming can just plow through since they have a Doom. So now where do Complexity go from here? IO Sven most of the time is going to be going towards a silent, at least not as often going mid as IO Tiny. It's a Leshrac for Complexity. Is this a supporting Leshrac? Seems possible.
Now, there's something interesting to be said. It could be a support Leshrac. It also is something where, yes, Bloodstone and Leshrac himself got nerfed, but, and just heads up, folks, I'm going to say hot sometimes. I mean Bloodstone. I'm still working. For some reason, I thought, you know how it writes B on the ground when you use your Bloodstone? I thought that was a hot, because I'm blind. Anyway, but Leshrac,
wait, is it a B?
Oh, is
look
it not
at
a B?
it.
Is it a hot? Yeah, they write
I
a
have
B
no
on the
idea
ground.
what it is.
Okay, we'll see it in this game. Maybe we might not, and then you'll never know. But there's a B or a heart written on the ground, and I thought it was a heart, so I call the bloodstone a heart, and not important. I think Io Leshrac is also a combo that can be pretty powerful, right? Because while you're waiting for the Sven to get online, if it is a mid Leshrac, he can get a lot more utility done. Where he's just like, I'm gonna relocate in. Oh, Pulse Nova, Edict. You thought you were alive, but lightning to your face, and Leshrac has a fantastic time there. And it's maybe not what you're expecting early on because the Sven isn't online. He takes a lot, actually, a Sven to get online.
The upside of a support Leshrac, alternatively, is that you have setup coming out from your core. And again, Sven, Wraith King, I guess to a lesser extent, Chaos Knight, there are very few heroes that can offer guaranteed setup for Leshrac. If you're missing Split Earths after the Stormhammer, you're probably out of range. It probably was just never going to happen anyway, but it's a very solid 1-2 punch and offers you some kill potential in a lane where you have an IO. And usually once you have the IO, pretty much as soon as you get the IO, your kill potential in the lane drops to close to 0. But just like Sven Leshrac as a dual lane, pretty old, I guess, pub stomping kind of dual lane, they can get kills just by themselves. So they can have the IO even, just go more so into the jungle. They have a lot of flexibility with this hero, and I don't really know if this is necessarily better or worse than a Lina pickup, who would have accomplished very much so similar goals. It is still going to be a lot of offensive power here for Complexity's lane.
So I'm also pretty sure I just fixed your sound levels. I had you really quiet because I've been trying to adjust for the videos that I apparently play somehow at max volume. Folks, if you have feedback on that, I would love to know. So
Too loud.
Well, the videos are really loud. The talking is maybe not the best. So we do have the Rubik pickup. I like this guy against the IO. You, of course, can't... You can kind of telekinesis into the IO into the Sven, right? Or you can do the vice versa and at least stun up these people relocating on you. It's probably, instead of being great utility, it's just going to force Sven to go on early BKB. A couple nice things to steal here, although if you steal relocate, you really can't do anything with it as a Rubik, right?
Global blink. Nature Prophet, eat your heart out.
Yeah, Fade Bolt. Fade Bolt really does push waves, right? It hurts the creeps and it reduces the damage they do. So
the classic split pushing Rubik.
Yeah. So but other than that, you've got Stormhammer. You've got the Split Earth, which without a cost point is bloody fantastic, and Lightning Storm, anything out of Leshrac, and we have a Mirana. I think Complexity is going for the blue heroes lineup. I do like Mirana. I'm not sure where she's gonna go. I've seen a couple unsuccessful offlane Miranas. Is support Mirana still a thing? Does she have enough utility? It's so much reliant on actually hitting those arrows.
I don't even remember the last time I've seen a Mirana, let alone a Mirana in any one of those very specific roles. The hero, again, does excel whenever you have setup. Very similar to the Leshrac in that regard, how, they'll be kind of okay on their own, but really excel when you have that point-click stun. If you have too many heroes that just have, those setup-required stuns, then you may find yourself in an awkward situation where you just don't have a way to start out those fights, especially if you're going to be going into someone like a Wind Ranger, who's just going to be able to pop the Wind Run when she sees the arrow coming and then take no damage or even get fast enough to dodge it. Complexity needs some sort of additional stun to really set this up, but if you look at all four of the heroes right now, with the exception being the IO, these are all heroes that we've seen in core roles, in mid lanes, in support roles. So for Root Gaming, they have to play a kind of guessing game. That's kind of why we see the very safe picks of the Wind Ranger and the Rubik, because these heroes can handle pretty much anything that comes to them, unless things get really, really bad. Did they just skip their ban? They did.
Yeah, so, okay, there are two things that could have happened here, right? They took a lot of time picking the Sven up. The other thing is actually a strat I've seen a few teams implement, but of course it's hard to ask them. I don't think I've seen an interview with teams to check if this was the strat. Sometimes you see teams skip their ban because they're like hoping two things get through. They actually don't want to ban something out. There are two heroes that they think their opponents are either going to grab one of those two, and they certainly want the other. I'm not sure if that was the play here, but I don't know. I think it's been a while. It could be a good strat.
Zenith, was that the team that just ran no bans? I think that was the only time when you can say with absolute certainty that is a plan. This time it's probably just they just ran out of time and whatever. Ban out techies, I guess, because no one likes techies even after the change. They're running out of time to make this pick. Now, not banning someone is one thing, not picking someone is another. Here we got the Sand King from Complexity. So that's going to be another one of those setup stunners. Complexity Gaming almost fully onto this pick-off train. They can get picks for days.
Yeah, also my not picking to let 2 things through doesn't work because they had the next pickup. I forgot that was the order it went, right? Or did they ban second or first? I don't know. I didn't catch.
It was Doom first pick. Okay. That makes any sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, and they go with the Sand King. I figure he's gonna be offlane. I personally am not a huge fan of the offlane Sand King. I think he's too easily countered by sentries, but still we see quite a bit of good utility. And even if he gets countered by the sentries, you have to expend so much gold on supports that both Rubik and Wyvern, they both want blinks, so they want a bit of farm, and it's the Medusa.
Well, for complexity,
a little bit of history on the Medusa. Root Gaming has they picked Medusa for their mid a lot, which is kind of funny because they've changed mids, 3 different mids in the past 2 weeks, being Monkeys Forever, Thetu, and now 747. So I don't know how they keep finding mids who can play Medusa mid, but doing it.
Well, like the Night Stalker we were talking about before, Medusa's not that hard. So, if you really are into that strategy, it shouldn't be too hard to find someone who's willing to do that. The problem with mid Medusa here is not really going to be in her lane opponent right now, and really look at complexities lanes or lane opponents in a 1v1 scenario. There's no hero here who will absolutely crush the Medusa, at least not in this patch. The problem for the Medusa is that there are going to be rotations everywhere from complexity. Bare minimum, Mirana rotating, and as Medusa you don't want to be fighting anyone until 30 minutes. You just want to be PvE during that time, but Mirana at the very least rotating in, maybe a Sand King coming in, maybe a Sven, maybe a Leshrac. All of these heroes can just smash a Medusa should they land a single one of their skills. So she is going to be going into a mid lane, if it is going to be a mid lane Medusa, where things are going to get really bad really quickly. But they're actually starting this one off with a smoke up, looking to get this Medusa a little bit of momentum.
I don't know whether they're exactly going for gank. They just really wanted to make sure they got the wards, but they're certainly going to run into someone here. Introductions are going to have to wait. And let's see. Oh, maybe they won't have to wait. They're not going to find anyone. So they got the early ward out. Maybe they're just going to block up more of Sand King's camps. Yeah, it looks like, Sand King. Oh, they're going for it. Is there going to be an early telekinesis? They've skilled it. Can they catch anyone? There goes the Arctic Burn. They're going to pull him up to the high ground a little bit. Do they have the slows for Swindle? Stun comes out, but Stormhammer not going to hit enough. And that arrow, it latches, but again, short and not helpful against 5. It is a single target stun, and yeah, they get that start off right. All of them getting a little bit of gold. You can see chump change, but it's always good in getting that experience. Let's quickly go into the player introductions. We've got 747 on the Medusa. We got DotA on that Wyvern, and it's going to mean that we've got Sand King on Rubik, Doom played by Xuan, and finally Windrunner on Jeezy. Tossing it over to you for complexity.
We got Z-Freak. He's going to be handling the IO with Way 2 for right now is Mirana. We got Zizzy on the Sven over towards mid. Swindles, Leshrac. What patch is this? Sand King is going to be played by MJW, but really smart move there for the root side. Very subtle move. Derp just flying off to the right, leaving everyone else to stay to the left side, knowing that pretty much the great majority of complexity stuns, the responses to that scenario are AoE, whether it's Split Earth or the Stormhammer, guaranteeing that only one hero gets connected with that. But now they're on to MJW. Yes, Sandstorm is going to pop it only a little bit, and with no sentries in this lane, killing off the Sand King really shouldn't happen.
Yeah, they did have sentries up top. Clearly we're expecting him up there. They could either ferry them down bottom. DotA will probably be forced to buy his own, but he's already putting a lot of damage on MJW. You're going to have to hide for a bit, eat quite a few tangos. Let's talk about this aggro tri-lane. This is the slay lane, as you pointed out. You can Stormhammer into arrow pretty reliably. Z-Freak can then tether across you and eventually we'll be able to throw out those balls, and it's... yeah, you have Windrun, but I think you'll be CC'd for the duration.
Well, they're going to go in deep, at least force Jeezy to go behind his tower. We got Shackle Shot picked up by Wind Ranger level 2. I think you only really go for this if you're offlane Wind Ranger, or if you know that you're in a lot of trouble as Wind Ranger, and this is definitely one of those troublesome times. The combo power here is strong, but it is definitely not always going to be killed should they land the combo. They need a little bit of body blocking and or the tether slow, or just level 2 so they also get the stars and the spirits. Although IO is actually going to grab level 2 overcharge, prepping for a tower dive perhaps. The 1-2 punch is kind of difficult to land here. Oh, bottom lane, they're going to catch Sand King with Stomp.
Yeah, they stomp him, but as we talked about, they might... Oh, no, I'm pretty sure he's dead. He's going to try to Burrow Strike Array, but they've got auto attacks, and that is Doom, hitting already for 65 damage because he's actually a truck and not a hero in Dota. While DotA took a lot of damage there, fantastic kill on the Sand King, and yeah, now they're going to kill off the Rubik in return. So a little bit of an advantage for Root Gaming, but, 2-1. Swindle pretty happy to get that kill, and certainly going to put him ahead in this mid now. How this Medusa farms in this mid, I think, is going to be a lot of the name of the game. We don't, because we're running 2-1-2s, the Wyvern can't be off stacking as easily, and I think they spotted his invis. So I don't know if DotA is going to get this kill.
First arrow gonna miss, or at least I think first arrow gonna miss on 747.
Cool.
The good thing for the Medusa right now is that this is a post-patchless Shrek, and he's therefore going for Edict, because Lightning Storm kind of sucks now. In a mid lane, it's really hard to use the Edict. They're gonna try to go for the Wind Ranger up towards top. They get the slow and the hammer arrow.
Not enough.
Nope.
Oh, the arrow is gonna be way off the mark. They still can chase. Where is she? Doesn't have Wind Run. It's on cooldown. Does ZZ have another Storm Hammer? He doesn't have enough mana, but he might just chase her down. She pops the salve. Oh, and she uses the shackle shot, so they don't manage to pop the salve. And Z-Freak's gonna go down. Beautiful shackle shot. ZZ White now taking a lot of damage. Let's see if he can get out of this. But the slow Arctic Burn so strong, and with the power shot, they have more than enough to take him down. And a nice rotation from DotA. I believe he TP'd up there. I'm not quite sure if he just walked, but he was trying to camp mid, seeing if he could use that invis to kill the courier. Even though you're ranged and don't get that bonus damage with Arctic Burn, you can often easily kill your enemy's courier just because of the range advantage. And yeah, instead coming up top, getting 2 kills. Think this tri-lane. Sometimes when your opponents get 2 kills on you, you can go back and keep trying for the tri-lane. But Windrunner is now level 4 to your level 2 on Io and level 2 on Sven. Might be time to abandon it.
The Wind Ranger as a hero is a little bit too fast to get away with the deep
Looks like
tower
they're
dive
going
at
on
bottom.
bottom. There should be a Storm Hammer coming out eventually. They're going to block in. They don't need the Storm Hammer. Oh, actually got to move to the side. Not quite sure what that was. Seemed like a bit of a miscommunication between the two. Do you know what happened? It looks like Sven moved out of the way at the same time as Sand King was going in for his stun.
Well, they saw the Rubik, so they... Well, Swindles is getting into a fight right now. Looks like it's not really going to end up in anything, but they saw the Rubik coming, so it's like, oh, we should probably reposition ourselves for this Rubik. I'm not sure what the hell happened with that Burrow Strike, though. Like, bouncing across that little ravine, like, that is not what you want to do, but they're still positioning for Koharu right now. 747, Burrow Strike into Split Earth, into Edict. That should get a kill, despite level 2 Mana Shield.
Yeah, so...
There we go.
Yeah, we're gonna see what they can do. They tether in, they've got the stun up as well. Mana Shield not gonna maybe do enough, but taking so much damage. Took all of the balls to the face. I think she's still going down with that Edict, and yeah, one more ball. No, Sand King gonna get the kill. So, looking good there on Swindle Melons, getting a kill on the Medusa, and we can see she's not having a grand old time farming in middle.
That was even like the Leshrac at his weakest. There was a huge creep wave there, or like a full creep wave there. So Swindle's Edict doing like close to minimum possible damage to that Medusa. Yet still, even with that, the angle at which you Burrow Strike in, maybe Medusa expected a Mirana to come in, not a Sand King. But yeah, either way, she's gonna go down. And speaking of Mirana, Sand King, they're not done with this mid lane yet. The game plan against Medusa is gank her, and this doesn't change if she's in mid.
Nighttime, so it's going to be another Burrow Strike coming in. They latched that one. Now they've got 4 heroes in mid. Is the arrow going to come out? They don't even need it with the Split Earth. Mana Shield's gone. And yeah, again, it's something where those Wisp balls, the spirits, they do a lot of damage, especially early game. Kind of deceptive how much they do. So they might not be getting kills elsewhere on the map, but apparently getting them all over mid lane. And this Medusa is going to have a hell of a time catching up. There also aren't stacks for her. She is a hero who can take advantage of that, but not going to be the case without stacks.
Fortunately for Root, despite the fact that their Medusa is having a really rough time, the Wind Ranger didn't die up towards top, got a couple kills, got a couple assists and a kill off of that one, and the Doom is doing very well in the bottom.
Yeah, they're just going to go on him a little bit, do some harass. I don't think Doom really wants to commit. He's not quite level 6. I think if he were level 6, he would go in for sure. So...
But because the Doom and Wind Ranger are doing so well, it's almost as if like Wind Ranger was mid, Doom was off lane, and Medusa just, you know, had a really bad start. And sometimes it just happens.
Well, we actually do have the Doom out bottom on ZZ, but of course there is a Wisp there. Maybe, doesn't have anything to heal up ZZ. I don't think he's going to go down anyway. Yeah, the Doom is almost over, and now both Doom and the Wyvern need to get out of there. So... Leshrac going to be fine. Rubik actually going to come down as well. We've already got Arcanes up on a bunch of folks, so early Arcane's just gonna really help them with the sustain in lane. What do you go here? You're a Windrunner. You're up against a relocating IO. Oh, she shackled that creep.
Got him.
What do you go against IO Sven? It feels like you need maybe a bit of kite for the Sven, but there's also going to be an IO, so obviously you have to build an Ags. I'm not sure what your first item is after that.
I'm not even sure if you get Ags first. You kind of just have to tap into your early game power with the Power Shot and Shackle Shot. And I generally like Blink Dagger and Wind Ranger a little bit more, but the upside of Force Staff here is so huge when Complexity have so many like position-based stuns. it's not going to save yourself, but it's definitely not to save your allies. I'm not sure if she goes for that or the Blink Dagger. She's going to dodge another Burrow Strike up towards top lane. But right now we're seeing the real weakness of Mirana, who doesn't really have like a Shadow Demon to help set up. She's just not landing any of these arrows.
Yeah, I mean, she's done good work being involved in some of the kills. I'm also wondering whether her build will change at all. Last patch, I believe there was a change to Starfall, if I'm not remembering this incorrectly. She gets a bit more AoE and damage now on the final Starstorm Bolt. She does look to be maxing Arrow. They've got a lot of setup for it, but maybe Starfall is next, and we will be seeing the AoE of the Mirana coming out to play. And yeah,
and she's a support. Like, you don't really get many levels as a roaming Mirana unless you're at this point like 5-0, and that's clearly not the case. So Way2 is working with like this super budget Mirana, and that's not at all what I would that's pretty much what I would expect from Way2, but he hasn't landed a single arrow, I don't think. I mean, he's landed one point blank on Medusa, but have landed any skill at that range. Like,
he also landed one in the engagement, but it doesn't really count because it was like throwing into 5. Like, if you didn't hit someone there, that would be the skill shot. So either way, Windrunner doing a lot of damage to the Sand King on top, actually has to eat his mango to ensure that he can Burrow Strike away. I think worried about taking another power shot to the face. And yeah, she's maxed Shackle Shot, I think, expecting the relocates to come out and hoping that she can use them just to shackle up the pair. I've seen Swindle play against a Windrunner before, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's good at... Oh, sorry, not Swindle, Z-Freak. I wouldn't be surprised if he's good at dodging. It's always hard, though, right? And we have a bunch of TPs coming out bottom. Let's see if ZZ can do something here. He, of course, will be having a Stormhammer coming out. He goes for it. Doom is tanky. He has Scorched Earth up as well. He can just pop that, but here comes Leshrac. Gonna use the Lightning Endo. Somehow only hits on 1 despite that AoE, and now they're going in. They've used that God Strength. The Doom comes out on Swindle. He can't Swindle all over them, and he can't turn off his Edicts. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. The Pulse Nova, I mean, and now somehow they're doing it, but at the same time, the AoE cleaves. ZZY almost killing them all off. We do see the Starfall doing a little bit of extra damage, but Mirana needs to get out of there. Z-Freak pops out the Spirits, but they go off cooldown before he can damage anyone with them. And what I thought Root had a really bad team fight there with the amount of damage that God Strength from ZZY was popping out, but wow, did they tone it around. I think the Doom on Swindle was what did that, though, right?
I mean, Leshrac already had all of his skills turned on already, so Doom, for like silence purposes, not super huge there, but I think the greatest thing that helped Root in that fight was the fact that Sven Stormhammer did not lead directly into the Split Earth from Leshrac. He only got a Lightning Storm off, and it's level 1, like, it doesn't really do anything. So Root, they just happened to be initiated upon kind of clumsily by Complexity. They felt really rushed, and that's why they ended up missing that 1-2 punch, which otherwise would have let them get the kill and probably get out with no casualties. But it's a little bit jammed up in their initiation, and Root have time to actually mount some sort of response. Now 4-6.
Yeah. So really nice. We're actually in a very close game, even though Root is 1.5k ahead. You've got to say always when you have a Doom on the opposing team, there's a lot more he can get out of the map just because Devour gives you extra gold. So doing really well on both sides, and we've got a smoke rotation, but nobody's in this jungle. They've actually headed up to kill the Windrunner. They know she's farming well, and they want her dead. She has already got the point booster, though, and I don't think will power shot here and reveal her position. She's probably just going to let this tower fall and then come out and farm a little bit afterwards, but they came up here for the Windrunner and unfortunately got no one.
Well, look, they got a tower. That's sometimes.
You'll take it. She actually shows herself. She goes for the shackle shot. It latches. That is a long shackle shot. She takes 5 bolts to the face, but it doesn't even matter. Arrow off the wall because she runs away. But you can't Windrun from Pulse Nova. Cold Embrace gonna keep her alive, but I think just delaying the inevitable is Swindle Elm. Somehow she's still alive. This Windrunner. She's never gonna go down. Is she gonna be able to kill ZZY? He can't get in an auto attack or in another shackle shot. Are you kidding me? This Windrunner. And now the Winter's Curse on Way2 can't use the Starfall. I don't know if you saw the amount of things she tanked. Oh yeah, and Z-Freak's gonna die. He's gonna, oh maybe not, actually. Can he tether to a creep? Is there allied creeps coming? No, he gets Fade Bolted. I don't know if you saw what I saw there, but she was taking Pulse Nova, and then she was Cold Embrace, and I was like, oh surely she's standing in the Pulse Nova, but then it was like level 1 Pulse Nova, so she was fine, and then she took a Starfall, and then she took auto attacks from ZZY, like, holy Toledo, as they say.
Wind Ranger getting out of there barely, but really the only reason she escaped was because she has Wind Run, she has Phase Boots, and Arrow had no setup. The Arrow was coming straight for her. She was standing her ground, focusing her fire, as Wind Rangers normally do, but it just didn't connect. And then after that, Root came in with the Doom, and it wasn't even like a super great Doom. It was on Leshrac, who had all of his skills already turned on, so still doing a lot of damage, but the Wind Ranger just survived for so long. Complexity had eyes only for her that they really couldn't do that much else. Even though in that fight, Z-Freak did... The fight recap is correct, and it never is. Like, something like 2,000 damage with the spirits. I have no idea how that happened. Still, it's Root Gaming to keep this Wind Ranger alive and keep the focus of this game off of 747. That's, like, a big reason why they're, like, getting involved in these fights at all, is because if they do take a fight and take it even, that's fine for them, because the 747 is farming.
Yeah, he also got, I don't know, I don't think he was up in that fight. Maybe he was. Maybe the snake came out, but I did not see, and in the meantime, because of all of this fighting and moving around, suddenly 747 back on the top net worth chart. He was way down. I think he was in 6th or 7th after the laning phase. Just the 3 ganks run on him. That one he got away from, but in the others he didn't. Now, we've got interesting synergy on Root Gaming. You, of course... You generally like to use the Winter's Curse as a way to lock someone down, but you could also just use it to hold them in place for the Medusa Stone Gaze, because while it reduces magic damage, Root Gaming just has a lot of physical. Yeah, they've got Fade Bolt, yeah, they've got Power Shot, but Doom is pure damage. So you can just be casually maybe catching them all with Stony Gaze, and then you Doom, and you're gonna get your Doom target off all the time. So interesting synergy. Let's see if this gank collides. It looks like they're just gonna gank the tower. Not even a gank, really. They just came at it from the side, and yeah, that tower goes down. At the same time, Medusa 747 just casually farming. Root Gaming is like, yeah, it's fine. You take her. Oh, they're gonna arrow her right in the face, and that is gonna be stunned for 3 seconds. But there's a lot of backup here from Root. Where is gonna be the Winter's Curse? They use it on ZZY. I don't know if that was the target, but he is falling quickly. Where is the Doom? There is the Stony Gaze. Everybody is stoned, and now Way2 taking a lot of damage and shackled to finish it off as well. So, Root Gaming, I don't think the Medusa was bait there at all, but she certainly helped out in the relocate back in. They're probably going to get the IO. Doesn't look like he has anything he can tether to. He's trying to make it to the creep wave. Can Z-Freak do it? He does get to the creep wave. He's TPing, and the Wiggle Snake won't be enough. A nice play by Z-Freak getting out there.
That was, I'm pretty sure Koharu out of range to see the observer, even though they had detection, so if she was in range, she would have seen it. It would have been either way pretty close. She would have dodged the arrow if she didn't know that she was spotted. She wouldn't have been there. But that curse, man, that curse onto 5. You never have curse land on 5. And yeah,
also the Stone Gaze, like,
yeah, but curse like onto 5 jammed them all up. Complexity cannot move. They also canceled the epicenter channeling during that. Complexity thought they had a free ride in, and if you land an arrow that long on a Medusa, you should be able to win the fight thereafter with the epicenter. But they couldn't do anything. They're caught in a super small bottleneck up against Root, and even though Root don't really have the most AoE, they don't have an epicenter of their own. A curse like that is very rarely going to end up in a lost fight for Root.
Yeah, beautiful plays all around. A nice presence of mind. You know, sometimes one of your allies gets arrowed, you panic, you're like, oh, we just let them die. They're 5-second arrowed, it's gone. It's GG for them, but nicely done. Now, Z-Freak on this IO, I've seen him play this a few times when casting the qualifiers. He doesn't go boots. He will build up like a Heaven's Halberd before he gets shoes on this guy. And I mean, yeah, you have tether, you can do that for a lot of maneuverability. You can also use the relocate, but I feel like IO maybe needs brown boots. What's the deal here?
In this game especially, like, you got a Medusa who has phase and usually can't get kills. Like, if there's a reason why she can't get kills, because the enemy just gets out of range. Scotty is such a great item on Medusa, at least a part of a reason why.
Yeah.
Wind Ranger and Doom very much so the same, so I mean, maybe the IO, if he figures he's in that position, he's going to die anyway. Fair enough, because he's not exactly a tanky hero. But I like boots on all heroes. Maybe that's just me. They're actually going to clear out a triple stack of Ancients in the meantime. This is going to give Zizzy his Mask of Madness if he wants it.
Yeah. Now, looking around, Windrunner is almost done with her Aghanims. Medusa is going straight Lincoln Sphere. Maybe I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, it blocks good things, this game. It can also block... Can it block the Burrow Strike if it's targeted? I'm not sure on that one. I know it blocks the Earth Spike if it's
Last I checked, if you like point click stun, it will.
No, I don't know if that's true anymore. Anyway, we will say this,
right?
and then someone in chat will correct us. I know there's 9K MMO players out there, so you'll check this.
And
for
the
us.
more fail fishes we see, the more we know that we were incorrect.
I can't actually read chat when I call, so all of this is wasted on me. By the way, Stan King gonna be working on his own urn. Oh yeah, it looks like Doom has found someone and he has doomed him, but I don't know if he can get in here. Oh gosh, Way2 is just cut off and Doom has no way out. So Z-Freak just gonna make sure he stays alive there, got more than enough healing up, and both Way2 and Z-Freak gonna take a trip home. I'm not quite sure where he relocated from. Probably the fountain?
Probably
no.
bottom lane,
gosh.
they're gonna get a jump in on Windranger.
Windrunner, she's just gonna Windrun out of there. The Stormhammer couldn't come out fast enough, and they were in the jungle. Apparently Io he can farm and stack the jungle with those balls, so probably just doing that. Yeah, as you can see, throwing out those balls. In the meantime, we got Mask of Madness on Sven. I think this is an interesting choice, just because they are getting a lot of damage thrown their way from Root Gaming.
It seems perhaps a little bit all in, but at the same time, like, the good items for Sven, like we got Mask of Madness, Power Treads obviously already up. BKB in this game, not super useful. Like, it doesn't do jack versus Stone Gaze. If you get doomed, you're doomed, and it's not going to change. And you could even just focus fire the Sven through that. Granted, with Warcry, he will take a little bit longer to die, but it doesn't seem like there are any great items for the Sven to go for in this game. Kind of has to put himself at a little bit of a risk.
Yeah. Now Mirana's gonna try for an arrow maybe. No, Way2 not going for it. And Sven picks up a DD, so I don't think Root saw the DD, but the moment they see this, they'll probably back out. Although Sven just gonna take a stack with it. I think that's the right decision, right? You probably can't make something happen unless you're lucky, make a big play. So, Medusa, this Lincoln's, I'm still... What, he blocks Stormbolt and Lightning, I guess, and... I'm saying you're meant to fill in the blank, because I don't think there are more.
I was like, yeah,
what else?
Is there something else here?
maybe it does block the Bio Strike again, as we said. We'll figure that out later. So
they're gonna smoke bottom.
Yeah, going for it. Swindlemelon's just got his Bloodstone up, so this is going to be really devastating. They know he's here. They're going to catch Z-Freak instead. There is the Mirana's ult, but it's not enough. Do they have sentries here? I don't know if they have sentries, but they kind of know where people are. They drop a sentry on Z-Freak, realize he's going to die to the Doom. Swindlemelon's is actually trying to go ham on them, but I don't know. He's going on the Windrunner, but he takes a Splinter Blast to the face, and now realizing he can't do it and has to commit suicide. That is awful. You do not want to lose your 8 Bloodstone charges to a suicide and sentries under the tower. That's a creative one. So, it was totally necessary, though. And Windrunner has up the Aghanims, so...
That was quite the smooth play from Root, and using the Doom on Io, a little bit aggressive from Root, but you know what, if you get both the kills anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You also get the tower, walk away from that one. Guardian Greaves now up on Schwan. Saw the mechanism build on him in the first game. Blink Dagger a little bit less important for a Doom in this draft, but still interesting to see this player and hero constantly go for this.
Oh, there's the blink forwards from MJW and Stan King. There's going to be a relocate on his face. The balls, they're doing too much damage. There's a shackle shot up, but I don't know. Winter's Curse, but you target is shackled. Gonna take a Stormbolt to the face. Can ZZY finish it off? Here comes Medusa, though. There, she does use the Stone Gaze. People turning into stones. A couple of them actually are. She's getting a lot of damage. She stops the TP from ZZY. She's gonna get swindled. He's gonna be at 3-4 Bloodstone charges. He gained one in that team fight, and now ZZY. Beautiful Stormhammer. He might be able to walk it off. What is the timing on his little speed buff? He just uses the Mask of Madness to get away. So, 2 for 2. And yeah, it's actually a pretty even team fight. Complexity pulling ahead because they are behind, but you know, it was core for core and support. So actually that was their offlane Sand King, but he's kind of a support hero at this point.
Alright, so I don't know what happened to the Bloodstone mark on the ground. Apparently it's just not there anymore. They removed that or something.
No, there used to be a mark.
There used to be a mark. It's just not there anymore, so we can't find that one out.
Oh my gosh.
This is like a very minor mechanic that I have never seen be relevant before. When you teleport to somewhere, your hero faces that place. And in this case, the Sven wanted to get out of there. He wanted to go home because no one wants to be next to a Medusa. He ended up facing the Medusa because he wanted to TP back, and that's what canceled his TP because he decided to leave. Like, that never ever happens, and 747 may have been planning that, maybe not, but either way, Root gets a semi-lucky break, regardless of whether or not it is actual luck. They come away with a pretty nice fight. This Medusa now 1-2-4 has Lincoln Sphere complete, and the more important thing, aside from this Lincoln Sphere, is the fact that she has 2,000 gold. Now she can start building up some offense.
Yeah, can we just talk about that TP thing? Is it where you clicked for the TP? Because you know how you can click anywhere on the map and it just chooses the closest location? Or is it where you're going?
I'm pretty sure it's just like where you're going.
Unless, oh.
I mean, like,
yeah,
who
no,
pays
that's
attention
hard.
to that? That's never ever
I
relevant.
don't. And now Shuan might be having a gank train run on him. They could be the blink forwards burrow strike, but oh, they're shackling them together. They're gonna go on it. Who are they gonna doom? They doom ZZY, knowing that they don't want him to God strength. Swindle Melons is trying to do Leshrac things, but he can't. He's taking too much damage. He is actually getting a good amount of Pulse Nova damage, but he's gonna be down to 2 Bloodstone charges. And now Swindle taking a lot of damage, and yeah, that is 2 Bloodstone. And no, there's no B on the ground.
Derp derp. Going 1v2, chasing away the doomed Sven. That was a kind of bold move from Winter Wyvern. There's an IO who actually relocated out, is going to return and get back to safety at the end of it. But so that's 2 kills for Root off of a great Shackle shot from the Wind Ranger and dooming the Sven. And if he has God Strength prepped up and ready, then if he has, you know, any sort of farm, he's still a significant threat. But at this stage, you doom him and essentially he's out of the fight. Root clean house, and now they're going to clean house in the Roshan pit.
Yeah, DD
and Complexity can't. I don't feel. Maybe they'll check an arrow, but it seems like it'll be too late.
Yeah, even if they landed a beautiful arrow, they would need the Epicenter of Dreams, only level 11 on that Sand King, and this is just falling way too fast with the DD on Windrunner. They completely know about it, but they're going to get nothing. And there it goes. Who is going to pick it up, though? Windrunner probably just taking a while, reorganizing her inventory. Got to make sure she's got shoes in the right slot. In comes Way2. What are you doing, Way2? No! Marana is dead! And that happens to the best of us. But on the backlines, Doom taking quite a bit of damage, doing some to MJW as well, actually taking no damage. MJW is going to burn down to that Scorched Earth. They kill off Derp Swindle, getting himself back up to 3 Bloodstone charges, but he might just go down to the Owen. Does Z-Freak have the relocate? He doesn't for 12 seconds, but I think Swindle's is out. But the returned arrow from the Rubik! And Swindle gets off a beautiful split Earth, but I don't think he can fight up against this. The Stone Gaze is going to be up soon. And one Windrunner going a bit too ham, but of course she does have the Aegis. Io has bought back into this team fight. There is the Scream. Z-Freak does have relocate. He could maybe use it here, but Swindle Melon's actually just going to be caught out, taking quite a bit of damage. Maybe can turn this around. Windrunner is back. Do they have a Shackle shot or anything? Not for 7 seconds. What can they do? They kill off the IO now. Swindle Melons is doomed up. They've had 2 of those this team fight, and that is ridiculous. That is a huge team fight. Root Gaming getting diebacks and everything. Well, Root Gaming, yeah, earning themselves diebacks on the other team. That's not how that phrase works, but holy cow, 2.5k, 2.6k gold swing. Maths is difficult when hyped.
Oh,
7,
yeah.
actually. Oh,
Root
disgusting.
Just cashed in hard. The dieback on the IO, a hero that goes for no boots because he's going to go for a budget build and can't really afford to lose any deaths when you're going for that type of build. Root just collapsed onto Complexity way faster than Complexity thought. It all started off with Way2, for some reason, getting into that Roshan pit area. Not really sure what the deal was there for the Marana, but he had no business being there. And then Complexity seemed like they just couldn't say no anymore to that fight, even though they tried to disengage. Yeah. They also were just like a little bit too feisty, and they just kept on trying to get in there. But they kept together as a squad, and they just kept on plowing forward. And for Complexity, they were going in one at a time. We have a random arrow being chucked by the Rubik, looking for the Sand King. Can't find him.
And now I'm surprised he stayed up here. He's hoping his team can stay and do something. That this Medusa, I don't know if that's the target you want to go on. She's over halfway to Scotty. She's a bit of a Mac truck at this point with that Mana Shield. And yeah, it does block the Burrow Strike apparently. I don't know whether he clicked it on her or not. I think it just blocks it. She's going to just use that Stone Gauge. She's actually stoned up Swindles. There's the Winter's Curse as well. Maybe not optimal to get both of those. Now ZZY's coming in. He has the God Strength. This Mana Shield is being burned through, but Sand King already dead. Didn't get to use the Epicenter. 747 taking a lot of damage. And of course that Cold Embrace just means she takes no physical. Windrunner though, a little bit out of position. Can they kill off Swindle Melons? That's the real test. Of course, the beautiful Shackle shot between the two of them, and now ZZY. God Strength be damned. They should be able to kite him around. Actually gonna kill off Windrunner with the cleave, and now Sand King taking a lot of damage. Guardian Greaves and pipe charges from the magic wand healing him up. I whiffed the end of that because I couldn't remember magic wand's name and thought it was pipe, but either way they get ZZY, and there was a doom. Another dominant team fight for Root, and considering that they had been stalking their target, like, Root's just pulling further and further ahead. They're now at a 15,000 net worth lead. They have the late game as well. Yes, Sven can get huge, but feeling like Root Gaming is a little bit out of control. They're ahead at 25 minutes with the Medusa.
And the Medusa's getting quite a lot of action, a lot more action than Medusas usually are comfortable with, but as long as she's staying alive for the most part, she is. They're going to be A-okay with that. This was a fight where they did not have a Doom. for like the entirety of it. He came in at the end to kill Stealer or whatever. Guarantee though that fight was actually won. But the big part of that fight was that they were able to drop Leshrac down to about a third of his HP without landing a single right click on him. There was just power shots, a random arrow from Rubik landed. They had the curse on him to start things off. Swindle was kept out of the fight, yet he was also taking damage. And you very rarely see a hero being managed that well, whether intentionally or not by Root. Leshrac just wasn't able to do enough by the time he actually got into that fight because he was already dead. So this is Medusa now with the Eye of Scotty and the Lincoln Sphere. They struggled to kill her off before. They will struggle even harder now. And Koharu 747 surviving, that the next item is going to be coming up, well, pretty shortly.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss that. 747 has the Scotty. I don't know what he's building up next. MKB isn't uncommon. I don't know whether he'll bother with it this game just because we don't seem to have any evasion sources. Maybe just a BKB to make sure he doesn't take that. There's a lot of magic damage coming out of complexity, not a lot of physical yet. So could go that safe choice. Windrun has also picked herself up a Blink, and I think, it's actually the Deso. Good thing I didn't say what I thought. Jeezy going for a Deso. I don't know whether this is just we want to end the game a bit sooner, want to make sure we can get our push on, or she really thinks they need to reduce the armor since Sven does have that Warcry.
Yeah, it has a lot of value when you're combining that up with the Dusa. Stanky
Rubik is, they're just stealing spells. He stole the Pulse Nova, not as effective on a Rubik. But here comes DotA using that Arctic Bone. Do they have anybody else in the neighborhood? Not so much, just hurting Swindle, and those balls from Z-Freak not going to hit anyone.
Sven gonna throw
Sven,
Let's chuck a hammer, get
there?
a bola in the face. Not a big deal.
Okay.
It's mini stuns being traded. The Sankey actually whiffed his epicenter a couple minutes ago, or a couple seconds ago. Up towards top, though, they're gonna catch Drip to bring him Splitter, then they'll bring him down.
Yeah, it's a very dead bird. Wyvern. I guess she's not technically a worm. What are you doing here, Windrun? Is she gonna just tackle? Yeah, that's a very dead Z-Freak, and she returns the kill, getting one for her support. It's pretty even, support for support. It's gonna be an advantage to complexity just because of how far behind they are. You can see in the kill here, if you add those two up, because it doesn't combine them since the kills are too far apart. Thank you, Fight Recap. It's actually really good. I shouldn't blame Fight Recap. It's fantastic. Nobody...
I wouldn't go that far. Kind of broken most of the time.
Pipe on Doom? How do you feel about this? He got buffed in the last patch?
Pipe on Doom would be great versus the Sand King. There's enough magical damage on complexity to make Pipe a legitimate choice. Again, I'm not really sure why Schwan just does not like any sort of initiation item style on Doom. Just going for this kind of battle tank build is fine, I guess, because they can just play the very immobile, we're just going to A-move into your base build at a certain point. I'm not sure if they're quite at that yet. 747 really needs a little bit more of a hard-hitting item with the Desolator for Wind Ranger if they want to do that. But if they're getting into these amounts of fights this consistently, then yeah, get the Pipe, get the Guardian Greaves, get the small auras, maybe even mix in a Vlad's. Why not? You have the farm, you're Doombringer, you're wealthy as all hell.
Yeah. So he might go for the Blink next. Maybe he's just like, look guys, my ult has such a long wind up. I'm never going to get to Blink use it on anyone, so I'm just not going to Blink by the Blink. I don't think that's the thought process at all. In mid lane, though, it looks like Windrunner taking a lot of damage. She's used up in the air, but here comes the rest of her team. A beautiful Wind is Curse. Splinter Blow is going to make ZZY take a lot of damage. He does already have, no, he didn't use the God Strength yet, and now Deso blowing up. Swindle now, doesn't matter if they have to relocate. Now ZZY going to go down too. That Deso paying off. Oh, an epicenter of Dream. Stan King going to take the balls to the face, finally falling, but Z-Freak is dead. There comes the scream out of Medusa. It's going to be stoned up. People, can she get in front of Way 2? She can, but they can't see him, so it doesn't matter that Way 2 is stoned. He's actually in a nice juke spot. All things considered, I don't think you're getting that. There's a mini spun from the Shackle, and this is probably going to be a set of at least the tier 3 tower, I think, especially with that Deso on the Windrunner. They only have buybacks on Leshrac, who will probably just try to wait it out, and the Mirana. Oh, they're going for the...
There's no creep wave nearby, so they have to wait a very, very long time. But that was a kind of weird relocate from Io, but it's just Root, again, managing the Sven very well. If he had God Strength in that fight, I'm not even sure he would feel comfortable turning around and actually start swinging, because Root, they were collapsing on him way too quickly. The epicenter, though good, was way too late. Even if there was 2 other heroes calling that epicenter, it wouldn't have salvaged the fight for complexity. They were just so far behind at this stage. They can't afford to be initiated upon any longer. They have been getting initiated upon, and so far dug them into a 20k gold and experience deficit. And Root are still getting initiations off without the Blink Dagger Doom. Now he has one, so it's going to be even easier for them to do so.
Yeah, Medusa's also saved up. She's going butterfly. Okay, she just bought out. They're gonna wait for Roshan. It's a pretty short Roshan timer on average, so they're gonna have a really great time on Root Gaming. They're gonna get this. They have the dire advantage. Maybe Complexity does the perfect team fight and they manage to take it away, but Root has all of the tools, being ahead in this game and with the dire advantage for getting the Roshan. I think only a smoke attempt or something could get it, and Root actually has their courier sitting over the pit.
And Root can just slow roll this all day long. They could just split push to their heart's content, because Complexity are never, at least not within like 10-20 minutes, will be able to go into the Roshan pit, grab it, and then get out. That's just not in the cards right now. So Root know that Roshan, if they just leave it there, is going to be theirs for later use. They could do whatever they want. Split push, look for these pickoffs. As long as they don't get, jumped by an arrow with the relocate follow-up from the IO, they should, for the most part, be fine to just slow roll this Aegis as long as they want to. Or they could just walk in and grab it, because that seems good too.
Yeah. Now it looks like Z-Freak is building up a Glimmer Cape. The item progression on Complexity is being really hampered. Way2's actually picked up a Midas, probably going for a Maelstrom, realizing that at best they're going to be in for the long haul. And I don't know if they win this late game. Swindles is rocking one Bloodstone charge.
He just can't get any kills, and he will always die, it seems, in these fights. Yes, Eul Scepter Plate Mail, which isn't bad, but it's just not enough given the Desolator on the Wind Ranger and Kaharu going to go for a Butterfly.
Yeah, it's scary on the Medusa. It doesn't seem like they have anybody who can afford an MKB. This Roshan, they're going to try to maybe split push up top for Complexity, but the Roshan goes easily to the Windrunner, and now they're all TPing back. Can Way2 get out? Has the blink. Actually, SK blinks in forward. ZZY is here too. Where is the Doom? It comes out on the BKB Sven. He's already used God Strength though. That Epicenter, it barely tickles 747. Has so much mana. Now they're going to be using the Pulse Nova, but again, 747 still has most of her mana pool. Uses the screen. A beautiful shackle on Swindles, but he's outside of tower range. I don't think they can see him. He's going to get relocated out, so not losing any more, but MJW should... Oh no. Juke away, my friend, in that invisibility. So
he has no TP.
Oh, well, oh gosh, no, they see him now. They use the power shot. They know exactly where he is. One more auto attack. Rubik gets the kill. Stan King. This maybe will allow Z-Freak to get away on the IO. Certainly worthwhile, but DotA blinks in. Uses that Arctic Burn. He's going to be slowing up IO. Takes quite a few bolts to the face and an earn charge. IO bringing them in, making sure it hits him. But now here is the Windrunner. Oh, whoa. I haven't seen that reaction before. Did he cancel the tether?
I have no idea what happened there.
It looked like the tether stopped before the shackle hit, but perhaps that's just the mini stun actually occurs before the visual indication.
That's probably it. I don't know. Unless there's some weird IO trick that I don't know about. It's Complexity to lose too, yeah. Considering how deep they went for that, they only lost 2 is actually not that bad. The relocate out of the Sven kept him safe, and he had God's Strength prepped. He was actually just straight running out of there. Root, they, again, came in really quickly, and this is only possible if they come in very quickly, because this Medusa has gotten so much farm, is on top of the net worth chart. It's obviously where you want to be as a Medusa, but it's very rarely where we see her, because teams usually apply more successful pressure to her. Now as the Butterfly, and is damn near impossible to kill. Like, even if it's all of Complexity beating down on 747, it's not going to be super easy. Yeah, they full stop, but they're actually hit her with the tail end of that. Will they have the split? Oh, they already used it, and now there's the Winter's Curse on Swindle taking too much damage. There's also the ult from Medusa coming out, so everybody's stony gazed up. They don't want to fight into that, and without Swindles, he does have buyback, but again, it might just be over. They doom up Z-Freak, just making sure Windrunner 4-shots him. There's going to be a blink Burrow Strike forwards, but I don't think Windrunner cares. Not with the Aegis and so on. Swindle Elms has bought back. They couldn't get the shackle to latch because of the BKB on ZZY, but instead Swindle's rocking very little health, and all they're actually going for him. Can they get the Burrow Strike to pick him off? This is going to be at least one lane of racks. It might even be more. I wouldn't be surprised to see Complexity call the GG here. They only have a Mirana right now. It's a support Mirana, although with a hand of Midas Maelstrom, in theory, could do a lot of damage if her base wasn't in complete shambles right now. There was an Epicenter available for the Sand King, but there is just not enough frontline. Root killed off the Leshrac way too quickly to start things off, and 0 Bloodstone charges. Sad sight to see, indeed. For Complexity, they just didn't have enough of a frontline to hold Root. They tried to get to the back with Medusa, but now
the bad mattering 747. That's a little bit rude. Oh gosh, Sean as well. Now, really well played from Root. Both teams played excellently throughout the set. I was really happy to see it. Feeling like Root they had a draw that went later than Complexity, and they really had their numbers on the relocates. So I don't know if you have more final words on the series.
Well, I think Doom and Windmate and Medusa can probably get some items next time, but the fact that they won without items, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Now, once again, I'm Llama Down Under. I would love your feedback on how to get better at costing. You can leave that at Llama Down Under on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. That's about it. How about you?